I love eating what the people there are eating. Right? I don't want something that's made for us. Even though you're at a Four Seasons, I don't want something made for Americans.
Yeah, Dom wants to eat with
amongst the people.
With the people, and he goes to Mozza in a Ludo restaurant in Cabo. Welcome to Industry Only at the Cheese Store. This is a historic episode because today is the day that Dom's going to get murdered in his own shop. He's walking around. Can we zoom in on this fucking hoodie? It's like, look, I spent a lot of time in New York too, so I'm not really going to say who I'm favoring in this World Series that may be over by the time this episode airs. Or may not be over. Who knows? Like, I don't even know when this episode airs. I don't know how podcasts work. But Dom is from Staten Island. Why did you decide to wear a Yankees hoodie in the middle of your store in Los Angeles on the brink of the World Series?
So it's interesting. So the reason why,
it's
first and foremost, let me explain. It's very interesting, Andy. So first and foremost, it's so amazing to have New York and LA in a World Series. Like, think about that for a second. Think about that for baseball in general. Like, imagine if the thing goes to a Game 7. That's going to be insane. Do I think the Dodgers are going to beat the Yankees? Probably. But, like, I think it's just awesome that two major cities, and by the way, do you know how many New York fans live in LA and vice versa? So I think it's just kind of cool. And I was like, you know what? Let me just throw the shirt on. And then I walked upstairs in my own store, and I got a lot of dirty looks, and I just came back downstairs. I actually was afraid. I was literally afraid just now.
All right, do we have security outside right
now? So, anyway, bro, I want to talk a little bit about, so it's actually kind of cool. So, I want to talk a little bit about our travels. I know that we've both been traveling a little bit. I know that you had something really exciting going on in Las Vegas. Can you tell me what you did this past, a couple of weeks ago? Whatever?
Well, we just went and did a walkthrough for an event that we're doing in Vegas. So the real thing that we're doing is during race weekend, during the weekend where Formula One is in Las Vegas, a bunch of us at Industry Only are putting together this new food festival at Resorts World called Indulge. And we're going to have our friends. And you know what? There's a lot of them.
How is this different than what you did last time?
Last time was more like industry only, where it was private parties for chefs. It was like curated pop-ups. This is a full-on walk around tasting in a day club with cocktails, entertainment. And we are bringing, and I'm going to read this because I just want to make sure that...
I love when you read lists like this. This is like such a name drop. I love it.
I've never done this on the podcast before.
I love it.
Our friends at Michelin Starred Camp 4 are going to be there. The Korean fried chicken from Chimilier, Durasti Caviar, Holy Basil. I brought Joy and Dal from Holy Basil here. Dal, the new Food and Wine Best New Chef. Amazing Thai food. Joint Seafood. Leeway's obviously been on this podcast. Ospi, that Italian restaurant that we love in Venice and now in Brentwood. Prince Street Pizza, Tacos 1986, and then some cool beverages like our sponsor, Big Noise Beer. Great cocktails from Bites and Bashes, Crystal Kozer, who was just on the podcast. I mean, look, when we do these things, they feel like family, right? Mm-hmm. And then, Resorts World has gotten some very interesting other partners, including Casamigos and Liquid Death, and we're bringing that case iced tea that I like.
Oh, nice.
So it's going to be fun. You can go to Resorts World, their website, go to their social or go to the Industry Only social to see some cool videos and flyers about this. You can get tickets online.
When is the event?
It is November 22nd and 23rd.
Wow. And that's the same weekend as the F1?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're just doing it during the day. The race is at night.
Yeah.
Please come hang out with us in Vegas. We still have tickets to sell. This is the first time we've done it. This is a grand experiment. No idea whether we want to do more events like this, but I had no idea I wanted to do more than one party. So, we're rolling with it right now.
You always say that, and that these parties are bigger and bigger with more chefs and more people.
And our friend Carol Chin, who's also been on the podcast, is producing this festival. So, when we say that, there's an Industry Only at the Cheese Store family, I mean, let's think about it. Leeway's been on, Crystal's been on, Carol's obviously been on. I took you to the Camp 4 pop-up recently that we can't stop talking about because it's so funny that you just walked down the street to go eat that. So, yeah, no, and you're right. The parties are getting bigger and bigger. We just did one at the Chef Conference. The first time the Chef Conference has been in L.A. They launched in Philadelphia. there were very, very prominent chefs from all over the country, plus like Elena Regatas from Mexico was there, alongside Chris Shepard, Eric Williams, Claudette Zepeda. That was the people at the conference. We got to throw the after party.
Where'd you have it?
At Chow Now, where you've been before.
It's the best place to host a party, period. There's I love that area. I love the inside. I love the outside. You can fit a lot of people. I mean, it's pretty special over there.
Yeah, and then we were in Vegas. Caroline were in Vegas for a couple days doing this walkthrough. We ate at Bazaar Mar, which is the new Jose Andres restaurant. The seafood-focused one. Leeway actually sells fish there, too.
It's amazing.
We ate at the new Mott 32 brunch, so dim sum and Peking duck for brunch. I mean, you can't hate that. I took Carol to Tacos El Gordo for the first time. Mm-hmm. But, that was a work trip. I mean, I know when you travel, Dom, too, it's eating everywhere, but it's always like some form of R&D. So you were in Chicago recently? Tell me about that.
So we went to Chicago. We actually had Andrea Maggi, this producer that we work with exclusively from Florence. He came out with his son, and he was basically sponsored by the Chicago Club to come out. We sell a lot of his cheeses, not only to a lot of restaurants around town, but we sell them to Chicago Club. And Joel from the Chicago Club was like, listen, this cheese is so special. We want to do something that, no one can do before. And our members here, they travel all over the world. They want something different and unique. So they had a chef come in, their resident chef at Chicago Club, rather, came in and did this whole cheese-focused menu. It was 5 different courses using each of Andrea's cheeses. So we actually all flew out to Chicago. And it's funny because I've never been to Chicago. That was my first time in Chicago. And I was blown away, man. I have to say, I was blown away. The people were so nice. The city was so clean. It was just a beautiful city. And I guess we happened to get some beautiful days. There was not a cloud in the sky, a little bit of wind, nothing cold, but it was almost like a fall New York day, which I loved. And then we asked Joel, our gracious host. I said, I want to eat Chicago pizza. I never had real Chicago pizza in Chicago. So we went to this place, Pizzeria Numero Due. So it's the same family that started Pizzeria Numero Uno. Everyone knows it's a big chain now. They actually own the building across the street, and they started their own little pizza place. And it was awesome. The service was great. And
what, you like that style of pizza now?
But hold on. So we got 2 kinds. And by the way, my answer is yes. My answer is yes. You can call it whatever you want. I thought it was delicious.
The pizza casserole or whatever?
Yeah, but bro, it was really good, man. Of course, we got the meat lovers one. So they had sausage and pepperoni all layered up in this beautiful crust.
How thick and wet was this, though? I just want people to understand.
No, look, man, it's when we say thick, it's thick with ingredients, but it's kind of thin on crust, except for the back part of it. And by the way, it's a full-on crust. It's not chewy. It's kind of dense. I loved it. I respect it for what it is. I thought it was delicious. And the sauce was so good. It wasn't overly acidic.
Right.
It was really good. And then I have to say, what I love the most, though, I love that thin crust pizza they do. So we got the thin crust because, if you go there.
Wait, is that the bar style, tavern style? What do they call it?
Yeah, it's bar style, a bar style
bar
pizza.
Pie?
Bar pie. We got that with sausage, which was lights out, nice, thin, crispy. And the reason why, obviously, I wanted to try both, but the deep dish ones take 45 minutes. So we did that, and then we had the little thin crust, and it was amazing.
Have you had New Haven style pizza?
Yeah, I actually been to New Haven a couple times.
Right,
I have. Yeah.
So there's a place called Ozzy's that's doing New Haven style pizza that just they're in Glendale. They just opened in North Hollywood. Last week, so that can be one of our next trips.
We should absolutely do it. I would love to try it again. I mean, I haven't been to New Haven in 10, 15 years. But
so what else did you get to eat besides pizza?
We ate there. I mean, it was actually kind of cool too because we ate at the Chicago Club, so they did a whole tasting menu for us with the cheeses and stuff like that. But we did a tasting at Tredita, Funky's new restaurant at the St. Regis. And we did a whole tasting for their chefs and stuff. And
you're selling stuff there too?
Yeah,
of course you are.
Evan's not only a great friend, but he's really supportive of us. So it's amazing. But so we got to taste some of their meats and their steaks and stuff.
So is that one just as resolutely Roman, or are they doing something else? I don't know exactly what they're doing.
No, it's like a Florence style steakhouse. So
okay, so this is not
Tuscan.
Like Mother Wolf.
No, it's opposite.
Okay, cool.
And the restaurant was absolutely beautiful.
But there's still pasta on the menu, right?
Oh yeah,
a good amount.
Of course. Yeah, and he actually has a dedicated pasta room. Not as big, obviously, as Funky, but he has a little dedicated pasta room there. And the restaurant is stunning. It's absolutely beautiful. You overlook all of the city of Chicago. Right? It's like it's so beautiful. Like I can't even articulate it. It was so nice. But getting back to Chicago, it was amazing because we took Andrea traveled with his son Bernardo, and we went to the United Center to see like the Michael Jordan statue. And this kid's like a big basketball fan, so like we got to go around the city a little bit, and we had a few hours. We were only there for 2 nights. We had a few hours to kind of kill, and we just walked around the city, and it was a fun, lively. Like I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to go back and get like the beef sandwiches and the hot dog, all that stuff.
Oh wow, you really want to do the whole
I'm
thing?
in. I want to go. I want to go back. This was just a really short. Like I think we were there for like a day and a half.
Right.
But it was so fun. Man.
So you were also telling me that you were at this really upscale resort because you go to the nicest resorts in the world.
No, I don't.
This one happened to be in Mexico. Nancy Silverton has a restaurant there. So tell me, where were you and what did you do?
We stayed at this Four Seasons Costa Palmas, and it was absolutely spectacular.
And this is where, Los Cabos, or?
Yeah, Los Cabos. So it's like an hour south of the airport, but it's kind of cool because it's basically this like little island, like this little peninsula, and on one side you have this super calm, nice, and this is like part of Mexico where you can actually go into the water. It's not so rocky and windy. But then there's the other side of the peninsula where it's like a little bit kind of windy. So Ludo has a restaurant on that side,
right.
Which actually he has. Do you remember Tua Familia? He has that chicken cutlet.
He has it there?
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
That was like my favorite thing from them.
Yeah.
And so they had it there, and like service was amazing. I mean, everything we ate there, burger was spectacular, like really, really like spot on. I actually texted him. I'm like, bro, like how do you do that here also? Because like their access to ingredients is not as great, but he nailed it. It was great. Of course, ate at Mozza, which was spectacular. Mozza has this like, like connected to the restaurant, they have this little private like bar sort of speakeasy that was absolutely beautiful. There's a DJ there, and it was like a club kind of thing. And they have, I don't know, like a few hundred types of tequilas and mezcals, and it was just really well done. And I was shocked because, like I said, I hadn't been to Mexico in so long, and to experience it like that was really special.
I want to jump in with a question
go.
here because I'm curious. Like, you talk a lot about obviously you travel to Italy a lot and you're doing research for the cheese store and you're bringing back ingredients. Now, are you doing also any of that in Mexico? Like, I think that, oh God, I'm so sorry to everyone who's listening for the thing that I'm about to say. I think of Mexican cheese as like shredded Mexican cheese, right? Like, what is Mexico cheese culture? Like what was that like for you?
Yeah, so, I mean...
Mexico cheese
culture.
For Dom.
No, I mean... So first of all, you have to appreciate like the access to ingredients, right? So like my angle, well, not angle, but like I appreciate the cuisine, I appreciate the people, the food. Like I may not necessarily be going there to like do biz dev, but I'm certainly going there to like experience what the people there are experiencing. And like if you're on this resort, there's really, I mean, everything that they do, it's kind of crazy because like they have their own little farmland, they have like all their own little things that they're doing as part of the hotel. But I'm not gonna lie, like I spoke to the chef at Mota, and he's like, bro, can we get your burrata down here? I was like, yeah, I'll totally try and do that. But it's more interesting to see how they have their ingredients and what they're doing with it. So, because you never know, it might spark an idea to do something, right? So like it's not just necessarily what kind of cheese do they have? Because I mean, you go to Mexico, they don't have a ton of cheeses, but they do like these little. Like,
but I'm gonna give a
buffets.
little. I'm gonna give a little preview though. I think that very soon we're gonna have someone from a Oaxacan restaurant who's gonna explain to you what some Mexican cheeses are, and that should be very interesting.
And I will take notes. Absolutely, but like, so we went to this.
But you don't really sell Mexican cheese here, though.
No, but I had to be honest with you. You know how many people come in and ask for like the Mexican string cheese?
Yeah.
That's like and because a lot of people cook with it. They eat like, and even that, what's that squeaky cheese? There's like a squeaky cheese like that's like kind of rubbery. You know what I'm talking about? I can't think of the name of it, but like that's another request we get like kind of often.
It doesn't really melt very well.
It doesn't melt well, but like when you eat it, it like squeaks in your mouth. We went to this, in the mornings they have these like beautiful lavish buffets with like a million things, out, and they had like 2 or 3 local cheeses. Like, I mean local, like down the block local cheeses. And it was great. It was great to taste like something different and unique. And also think about it, it's like so hot there, like mainly cows, right? There's not sheep there. So they're doing like these cow's milk cheeses that were almost reminding me of like a little bit of like a feta or like a Minori type cheese. So I love it. I love eating what the people there are eating. Right, I don't want something that's made for us. Even though you're at a Four Seasons, I don't want something made for Americans.
Yeah, Dom wants to eat with
amongst the people.
With the people, and he goes to Mozza and a Ludo restaurant in Cabo. I mean,
No, but those are like special. Actually, I'll tell you what. We ate at this place called the Nursery, and actually, I almost texted you and Leeway.
That sounds very much like a Mexican restaurant.
By the
to
way,
me.
we ate at a place called the Nursery. You're in the middle of a nursery, and they have everything wood fired. They actually had a little fridge outside dry aging fish. They had tuna collar. They had like all this crazy. I was like, wow, this is. And of course, we got the tuna collar. The food was incredible, and they were barbecuing like all these meats on open fire. And I thought I mean, like between the ribs, and I didn't care. I mean, everything there was like ribeye. I'm not a big. I know it's probably blasphemous. I'm not a big ribeye guy. It was like too fatty.
You
but
like strip better, or you like?
I'm a
Wait,
strip.
what you eat fillets
Yeah,
over
I love
ribeyes?
filet. I like filet. Oh, but yeah, I don't. I think ribeye is like too fatty for me.
Wow.
But the ribeye there was like exceptionally fatty. But anyway, I mean, it was still good. We ordered it. We had it. But I was just shocked to see that they were dry aging fish there. I thought that was so cool. And then you get a couple like line caught seasonal fish that are around this time of year. So it was great, man. I mean, I loved it. And you're sitting outside in a nursery, outside in the middle, like it's dirt. You're like around dirt, sitting at a table, and it was great. I loved it.
Okay, so Dom didn't know that we are going to do this today, but since he had the audacity, bravery, stupidity, I don't know what the word even is to describe it, ignorance, to wear
Utter stupidity.
Yankees hoodie. And again, like I may actually support the Yankees too. I'm just not going to make a big deal of this. Let's have some conversations about New York versus LA food, right? Because I'm going to read you something that's a silly thing, and we're going to use this to talk about some things that are maybe a little bit less silly.
And I know your angle, and I'm going to tell you it's going to backfire on you.
It's not going to backfire on me. We have the So there is a bet between Pink's Hot Dogs and Gray's Papaya, where the loser will donate $1,000 to the charity of the winner's choice, right? All right. Do we care enough about hot dogs? But which hot dog is better, Gray's Papaya or Pink's?
Oh man, I got to be honest with you. I mean, Gray's Papaya to me it's pretty special.
Right.
It is, but I mean, no disrespect to Pink's either. I mean, they obviously have a great hot dog, but it's what you know, it's what you're familiar with. So like, the Gray's Papaya to me is something that's a little bit more familiar, right? Like one's not better than the other. They're just
this is a great no comment, and literally my only response to this right now is no comment because I'm not getting into this shit. All right, you've never been to Langer's, so we can't do the Langer's versus Katz's.
Mm-hmm. Although I've been to Katz and I love. I mean,
Okay.
how do you not? I haven't been there in forever, but it's okay,
but I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit because this is the fun part, right? I know you go to La Dolce Vita all the time, and sometimes
I was actually there last night.
and sometimes you go there to eat baked clams,
Which I love.
after you've eaten a meal somewhere else,
Yeah.
right? La Dolce Vita versus any good Italian American restaurant that you used to go to in New York City.
First of all, I absolutely love La Dolce Vita.
I love La
Mark,
Dolce
I
Vita
love
too.
Matt. I think it's great. I think it's totally comparable to what I grew up with, which I think is why
Wow.
I love it so much. Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, the meatballs are good. The pastas are good. I'm not saying wow because I'm shedding on La Dolce Vita. I really like the restaurant. I'm just saying you grew up in Staten Island.
I know. So, but here's the thing though. So it's interesting because, you go through the menu at La Dolce Vita, and while they have the staples of what you grew up with, there's still like a whole nother side of Staten Island Italian cuisine, which is more Italian than Italy. But you don't get that.
Right, but then the Bay Ridge to really fuck with you.
Oh God,
Bay
that's like
Ridge on the
another
other
beast.
side of the bridge. That stuff is more Italian than Staten
You
Island.
might be more Italian than me, Andy. This is the
Dude,
whole repertoire of like.
or Sheepshead Bay where they had Randazzo's, or
Oh, God,
or
Randazzo's great.
the one in Bay Ridge was Casa Calamari.
Yeah.
I mean that's the most legendary. Okay, so Italian American food clearly better and more interesting in New York.
No, well, and also too, like I don't know. I think there's like, especially when you go back to Staten Island, some of those restaurants have been there forever.
No.
And they've seen so many iterations of just customers coming through
Yeah.
their doors. But like I have to say, I mean, like they even have things like chicken franchise. Like, what's chicken franchise? It's basically chicken piccata, but it's just slightly different. It has the flour on the outside, a little
Yeah.
thicker, right? Like, so they do all these like little nuances of things, but also had the potato croquettes at La Dolce Vita for the first time last night. Massive, big, but like potato croquettes is something that you would get in Staten Island. Like it's not a
Right.
interesting.
Right. So that restaurant has range.
It has range, yeah, for sure. But also, I mean, you go on Staten Island and it really is it's interesting because the food to me, and it's because of what I truly believe it's what you grew up with. It's what's familiar to you. I will take Staten Island Italian food over any Italian food anywhere. Maybe even in Italy.
Exactly. Actually, it's better for you than being Bologna or Tuscany. No, I completely get that. Okay, but let's talk about what you grew up with then, right? Versus what you eat now.
Oh God.
Pizzeria Say versus the slice joint that you used to go
like Lee's Tavern and Joe and Pat's. Yeah. This is what's crazy. This is what blows my mind. So like, what blows his mind is that William buys ingredients from here, and he's figuring out how to say this the nice way. No.
William was just here with the crew from Holy Basil. We love them.
William and brought him to the kitchen of Joe and Pat's. He would jump out of his skin. He's like, because like the way they do their dough, like they don't think about the dough the way William thinks about. I don't think anyone thinks about dough the way William does. But like their execution, their access to ingredients, it's so simple in Staten Island, but like when you have somebody like William who's just functioning on a different level, it's like one is not better than the other, but you have to just be able to appreciate the differences between the two. And by the way, they're both fucking delicious. But William's just at like a different level. But like, you know, if we go to like the New York and LA pizza, like we're not going to go down that road again, but like there are certain things that, you know, you could appreciate for what they are. And I think that to me is where the beauty is. Right?
Yeah, well, like, it's a different form of like, you know, artistry and craftsmanship. But you think about it the same way. Like I remember there's some people who made pizza in New York, and they couldn't even agree, like on do we call this Sicilian pizza? Do we call it something else? And they also
L&B Sicilian slice best ever. Go ahead.
And they couldn't agree on, you know, even the proper way to make it, because someone would be like, well, the waiter, you really tell if this was made correctly is you turn it over because you can basically see
underneath.
Yeah, you can see it, you can see underneath, but you actually want to see some indentations because somebody made it with their hands. And you tell that to somebody else, like, what the fuck are you talking about? My Sicilian pizzas never looked like this. So, but all right, go back to what you're saying about the Sicilian slice.
L&B, Sicilian, the Sicilian slice.
Oh, L&B Spumoni,
yeah. It's the absolute best Sicilian slice ever.
But you went to DeFara, right?
I went there when the old man was still alive, snipping the basil.
You know, I went there all the time too. Yeah. DeFara was the best pizza place in the history of America, in my opinion.
It was great. It was definitely great. But you could also find other pizza places like Lombardi's that's a different pie, right? Like coal oven versus not. Like so, there's different nuances, but they're both amazing.
Okay, all right. Well, let's give some love to the Dodgers fans, so you don't get.
Let's go. So I don't get murdered when I walk
completely
upstairs.
Destroyed. What are things that LA food does better than New York food? We've discussed this on other podcasts, but I just want you to say this so people will understand that, like, you live in LA and you don't live in New York now.
I live in LA. I don't live in New York now. I'm super
all right. Besides sandwiches on Pont de Cristal, what does LA do better than New York, in your opinion?
Oh, Mexican food, hands down. Sushi, hands down. I mean, like, there's no. I mean, where's our accent? Like, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't grow up eating Mexican food in New York City, even though there's still great Mexican food there. But you know, it doesn't even touch a candle to LA. Yeah. I mean,
well, we talk about my spots all the time. Like, where are you getting Mexican food? Where are you getting sushi these days?
Oh, that is putting me on the spot.
Well, I mean, you went to Holbox recently. Talk about that experience.
It's not called Holbox. No, I'm just finding this out now. That was an unbelievable experience for a lot of reasons. First of all, where it's located.
Right.
Okay.
Well, explain that you're driving.
You're basically near USC.
You're near USC, Mercado La Paloma. Tell me what that is, or tell our listeners what that is.
Oh, it's a marketplace.
Correct.
With all, I mean, you can probably,
Mercado, yeah.
Yeah, you can probably.
No, it's a marketplace food hall.
It's a marketplace food hall. I mean, basically, it's like, I mean, honestly, we're calling it food hall. It's a food court. There's nothing like lavish or over the top about it. But I think that's what attracted me to it.
Yeah, food court, sure, yeah. It was right? It was in the era of food court. Food hall sort of conveys something like newer.
I know, I feel like a food hall is like a little more polished version. And by the way, one's not better than the other. I appreciate, like, I just felt very authentic being in this spot.
So you're getting pristine, highest quality seafood, but you're eating it in this completely pretense-free.
So yeah, by the way, you're going up to this counter. The menu's pretty vast. Yeah. You're going up to this counter. You're expected to make a decision as quickly as possible. The line's around the corner, and
so what did you order?
Bro, I just started firing things off. I didn't even know how. I was like, yeah, we'll try the lobster. We'll try this. We'll try that. Like, I just went down the list of like.
Was there
There's only 4 of us, by the way.
Was there a tostada or aguachile that you really remember?
bro,
I'm not putting you on the spot.
No, you are putting me on the spot. We ordered so many of them. I have to go back to my pictures, but like everything to me was memorable about it. But what was really interesting was you're taking a number. People are just there's no element of like there's no high end service. Like no one's waiting for you to finish your plate to take it to like it. The food is just being dropped on your table. So much so that we actually used the table next to us because we didn't have enough space to eat what we were having. So like it was just crazy. But I mean, the only thing I'll say though, I like to have some alcoholic beverages with my food, and you can't do that there yet. But I would say like I would like a nice cold beer, a little margarita or something would have really like topped it off perfectly. But outside of that, I mean the food. I mean you go there for the food. It was exceptional. It was an exceptional experience, and the people were so nice. That kitchen is humming, and it's small and it's tiny, and you're in downtown. Like it just checked every box for me. It felt authentic. That was like my whole thing. Like I wanted to go somewhere that was authentic, and like. How the hell does this place have a Michelin star? You know, there's no real. I mean, the people were very nice. It was great. There's no level of service.
Well, because Michelin stars, essentially, if you read what Michelin or how it self-defines, is the primary thing, and in some cases, they claim the only thing, although that's full of shit, is the food, and so the food wins.
And in this case, I have to say the food did win. It was awesome. And you see a lot of walks of life there too. Yeah. Some guys like some construction guys working around the corner or like, you know, getting up online and like ordering. And it wasn't like also too, this was like pretty unique in a sense where it wasn't like an over the top like monetary experience. Like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes it's like super expensive. I mean, yes, we got a couple of like higher priced items, but it was like very affordable. And I thought the food was amazing. I really did. I thought it was incredible.
Yeah, all right. So where else? Like, where are you going just for street tacos? Or
oh God, Andy, you throw me on the spot. I mean, Guisados. There's a taco truck. There's a what is it Guisado? What is it? There's a taco truck that's literally. I mean, this is because my daughter loves it. It's on Santa Monica and Westwood Boulevard. It's in the car wash. It's
how would I know where this West Side Taqueria like that?
It's this little taco truck. I'd have to look it up, but it's. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's delicious. Here's the thing. I don't know enough. I don't trust myself enough to go pick a place unless somebody takes me there. And I love the experience. I like going to how do you call it? Hobosch?
Yeah. So I've got to take you to Sonora Town.
Yeah, for sure
I've
you do.
I've got to take you to Burritos La Palma.
By the way, bro, like all kidding aside, like I actually look to you to like hold my hand when it comes to things like that because I don't really know, but I'm very interested in learning.
Right, we can go to Machine and eat a breakfast burrito in Boyle Heights, and eat some new school tacos from Jonathan too. I mean, yeah. So you're right that Mexican food wins.
Mexican food wins for sure. Look, I mean. I think the LA, I mean, we talked about it already. I mean, the LA pizza game for sure is like something out of another level of,
but come on, it's not better than New York though. It's different than New York.
It's different, but it's respected. I respect it. I think it's great. I think the more you see, especially like, we spoke about this a million times, like the access to ingredients that California has for produce and stuff like that, it's unparalleled to anywhere else in the fucking United States. And I think that, seeing how creative these chefs get in using the different ingredients and what's available, like, it's one's not better than the other. It is just different. And also we can talk about sushi, bro. Sushi in LA is like you don't get it any more fresh, in my opinion.
Well, some of us would argue that you don't want fresh fish, but we can get into that later.
Boy.
No, but the range of sushi in LA,
leaving negative comments.
The range of sushi is very impressive in LA. So let's do this. Tell me somewhere you go just for more, everyday, quote unquote, casual sushi versus somewhere that you go when you really want to ball out.
Look, I mean, Hamasaku.
Yeah.
I love Hamasaku. It's around the corner from where I live. I think it's a solid meal every time. The people there are great. The food is great. They do a lot of cooked stuff. They do a lot of crudo.
Yeah. I mean, place that has a lot of history too, obviously, with Michael Ovitz. Yeah, Yoya cooking in the past and all that. So,
but I mean, like,
you've been going there for a while, right?
I've been going there for a while. I mean, I moved to Westwood like 10,
So the interesting thing about Hamasaku, right, is that Hamasaku is a baller restaurant, but it's also a neighborhood restaurant. So how do you treat it there? Is that your everyday, or is that your place where you go and you splurge?
No, that's our everyday little sushi spot. Because like, if we wanted to, like, I mean, we usually just Uber there anyway because we're gonna have a few drinks. But like, it's just it's and the people there are very nice. It's not like a over the top experience where you're almost like afraid to order something or ask for a substitution. Like it's perfect, man. I love it. The bar's always hopping, and like I said, the service is great. Food is great. They do these like the hamasako roll, one of my favorite things. I like to cook stuff too, but they do like the yellowtail sashimi is great. Like, to do everything they do is just like, you know what you're gonna get. It's solid, it's fresh, it's perfect. Like, and it's in the neighborhood. So like that's like my neighborhood little spot.
All right. And then do you go ball out for sushi sometimes?
I mean, it's kind of crazy. I mean, and I mean, all the haters are gonna hate, but like, I really do love, like, if we're gonna ball out, like I'm a Nobu Malibu guy, and I love. And some might say, yeah, like I mean, the sushi at Nobu I think is delicious. The cooked dishes are amazing too. But like that's kind of like my sort of, I mean, it's because it's a big commitment, right? You're going from Westwood to Malibu, and you're gonna go there, and you're gonna spend some time there, and like they got all the best bites of both crudo and cooked. So I mean,
you can
I just
probably
love it
wear
there.
Yankees gear there, and they won't give you shit.
They
too.
don't care, bro. Plus, it's great. People watching. You're on the beach. You're like,
Yeah, it
doing
is
all this.
no, the perch is nuts. It's like one of the best views of anything. It's great
insane.
energy.
Where do you go for sushi?
I mean, I go all over. For omakase, I was at Nazawa Bar recently. I was at 715 recently. There's a new secret place in the San Gabriel Valley that's invitation only that I'm going. Some people are taking me for my birthday on the 9th, so I can give a full
Oh, and his
report.
birthday's on the 9th. Everybody jot that down.
My birthday is well before the 9th. People are taking me on the 9th.
Oh,
and it's a
okay.
secret sushi place, so you can't really come and crash
Can't
his
get
dinner.
in. So I don't know his birthday, and I can't go to the dinner.
But it's
It
like,
happens.
but LA, like again, has that range. But I'm happy, on days where I'm in a hurry to go eat hand rolls, at Leeway Spot, or eat hand rolls at Kazunori. Well, I've heard
By
that
the
the
way,
hand rolls.
Kazunori's great.
I've heard the hand rolls at Ikinori are good too, and I'm sure all three of these places have strong opinions about the other two places. So I mean, I'm not even gonna get into like whether one is better than the other. It's just that they all exist in LA, and they're all popular, and they serve their purpose, right?
As someone that lives in New York, because I'm going to put you on the spot too. As someone that lives in New York and now living in LA, what do you think like LA trumps over New York food wise? Like, what do you think? Because I mean, you're obviously out more than I am. Like, what are some of your opinions that you have?
Thai food, Korean food, all the Chinese food in the Sangha.
So the Chinese food thing. So like, this is kind of like, you talk about eating Italian American food like the La Dolce Vitas and the carbos and stuff like that. And then you talk about Chinese food. Like, for me, I think New York Chinese food is some of the best Chinese food. And by the way, like, this might be blasphemous on so many different levels, but I think New York Chinese food is some of the best Chinese food that I've eaten. And I actually...
So, do you go to Genghis Khan here?
So it's funny, we just talked about this with Mark the other day. I've only ordered out there once, but I actually haven't gone to sit
Okay.
in the restaurant.
I mean, that's the closest thing.
Yeah, huh? But like, so, and what would you say, like, what's the difference between like what you're talking about Chinese food versus New York Chinese food? Like, how authentic are you getting?
I mean, I think authentic is the wrong word. I mean, there's a restaurant called Good Alley, right? And it does all sorts of regional Chinese food all at once successfully, right? This one just opened in Rosemead. They do xiaolongbao correctly. They do the Chinese hamburgers correctly. They do Sichuan style, like cold beef, cold ox tongue correctly. And it's the same menu, even though these are foods from all different parts of China, right? But it's just that there's a lot of people that are specialists, and there's people like Good Alley that they're generalists. And they can do a lot of things well. But in terms of the New York style Chinese, I think that a lot of that food is really just a reaction to immigrants going somewhere and just cooking to the palate and the desires of the people around them. Because if you go to New York corner Chinese, right, and there's one everywhere, right?
Ducks hanging in the window, like
But
love
and they have the pork fried rice, right? And then you go to Paris, and I think I've talked about this before, and the little corner Chinese places, they have like really refined, elegant like dumplings, like dim sum and all that. Because it turns out that this one market wants this and the other market wants that, right? So to me, LA, because of migration patterns, has just gotten a different array of Chinese food at different times. So New York got Sichuan food first, for example. So even though people think the Sichuan food in LA is the best in the country, I will argue that New York has had it for a longer time, and there are places there that have been doing this for such a long time that they're just better, right? Sichuan Impression, Wulong Ye, etc.
I just ate a Szechuan Impression the other
Right.
day,
So
and I thought it was great.
Sichuan Impression is like one of the new ones in LA, but then like Wulong Ye is the old school one in New York. Is one better than the other? No, it's again the thing that we're talking about. They're just different.
Right. I have to say, you know what? The Chinese food I loved the most was probably at the Win. Red 8.
Red 8?
And
Wing
Wing Lei.
I mean, those are good Chinese restaurants. Richard Chen, the chef at Wing Lei, went over to Fontainebleau. He has a restaurant
right.
called
You told me that.
yeah. He has a restaurant called China Club in Washington Potato. Alan Yao is actually the main guy, but Richard's the one that's sort of, in the kitchens on a regular basis. So those are great too.
I love it, man. Yeah, no, I mean, so, I think like what this boils down to, bro, is like I literally need you to take me to like some of the so for the Mexican, like I would love to see what you're like super excited about. I mean, I totally want to go deep with you on Asian because for me, like I love it and I just don't know enough about it and I don't know where to go. Like I really don't.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll go.
You're in it.
We'll go on some other adventures if you sort of like survive this week, or like survive the entire World Series if you're gonna pull this shit in your store all the time. I hope you make it for the at least one more month because like I said, Formula One weekend, race weekend in Vegas. We're bringing a lot of our friends there. Hopefully, you can come out there and be one of the surprise guests.
I would love it.
Or just
and congrats, by the way, that's huge.
Or come hang out. Just as a spectator like you did last time. All right. To be clear, Dom is not going to bring his cheese to fucking Vegas, right? Or is he?
Am I bringing cheese to Vegas?
Yeah. Oh well, you know what? You did a pop-up 00 last time.
We did pop-up 00. Yeah, I mean we're going there. We're going there. I have to go there to do a tasting before the year ends, and I think I'm going to go probably around that time.
So you already have cheese that you're selling a few places in Vegas now, or?
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
I mean, like restaurants are using it. We're not like necessarily selling it, but like restaurants are using it for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, that's very exciting. All right. So we'll find some reasons to go back together.
1,000%. I would love it.
Can we do an audience question before we get out of here today?
Let's go.
We had a write-in today, and this comes from Beth, and it's a pretty serious one. She says, I've listened to pretty much every episode of the podcast, and the one area that I think that you guys are arguably, like for good reasons, not paying attention to, but I think that you should now, we are in the few months in LA where no one is going to make fun of me for wanting to eat soup or stew.
Oh.
And she wants to know, what is your favorite kind of soup or stew?
The best soups that I eat all the time are Thai soups and Korean soups. So, get a tom yum at your favorite Thai restaurant. Go to Koreatown and get soup at Sundongdang or get soup at Liga. I wrote a story actually about this years ago, like for LA Magazine, and I'm trying to remember what I wrote back then. Oh, yeah. It was a Korean soup. There's a Dobin chowder at the Brother Sushi, which is like a Japanese take on a New England clam chowder. That's great. Obviously,
That sounds amazing.
Ludo does a great French onion soup. Chili, you could consider a soup or a stew, but like the one, Moose Craft Barbecue does a really good one with obviously their smoked meat. Go find some gumbo at Adams Get Down Gumbo at the farmer's market. There's a lot of stuff going on. Oh, and then there's a mini chain of restaurants called Orleans in York, and they do something called Shrimp Inspiration, and it's this really buttery, cream-based stew with a good amount of shrimp, and it reminds you of the pan roast that you get at the Palace Station Oyster Bar in Vegas. So,
Oh, nice.
So Dom, where do you like to go eat soup?
I don't go out to eat soup. No,
It doesn't have to be. This
yeah.
doesn't.
So I'll tell you. So where do I go out to? Where do I like to go out to eat soup? I mean, honestly, like the French onion soup at Ludo's place is probably hands down some of the best.
All right, great.
Solid answer. Beth, you can take those. You can go enjoy some soup and some chili for the colder, Los Angeles months.
When it's a balmy 65.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, he's got his hoodie on. He's ready to go. All right. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.
See you next time.